Welcome back to Frank's Dirty Garage. We are taking this 2.0 out and we are putting a K24 in it. It is about time. We need a little bit of more horse purrs for winter time. So come along for the ride. This is actually the engine out of the red Civic that has the cracked engine block right there. But no big deal. The EP3's engine mount bolts to a different spot. So we're ready to rumble. So the goal here is to be able to take this engine out without letting the R134 out of the compressor. So I'm probably gonna have to unbolt it off the engine first and then hopefully just lean it to the side so we don't lose any of our fluid in it. Ready to drop out. Oh. So it's the next day. It's pretty warm out today. It's 40 degrees in here. So I put the wheels back on and we're gonna push this thing outside and power wash it out because as you can see, it's a little dirty. The frame rails should come clean. And then we gotta start tearing all the accessories off of this one and putting it on that one back there. Here's some better light. So look how clean it is over here where it had a leak, rust protector, and then you come over here where it's transmission side and you have more rust. But it came out pretty clean. All right, it's time to strip this transmission off this engine, figure out this harness, what we're gonna do on the side here for the coolant reservoir, for the coolant housing because it's different between the two cars. So I'm probably gonna have to put a stock one on here, which means this harness is gonna be in the way, I think, but we'll see. Let's take this transmission off. All right, to catch everybody up, this is the engine that was just in the red car where I broke the block. You can see there, a lot better there. So I just took the engine, the K20 A3, it's like 130 horsepower, took it out of the blue car. There's the transmission for it right there. Here's the engine. I'm putting the engine out of the red car on the blue car's transmission, and just bolting it in. The only difference between this engine and this engine is the height difference. You can kind of see there. And obviously it's got almost 100 more horsepower, which is gonna be great. And where it bolts up, you can see the transmission, the dowel's stuck in the transmission, and there's a broken bolt in there. Where the engine mounts for that car with the T-bracket actually bolts to the transmission, not the block. So being that this is broken there, oh well, who cares? So that's what we're doing. So I beat the crap out of this clutch. Let's see how it looks. This is a Clutch Masters FX 500 unsprung. Man, this engine smells like E85. I can smell it. So we're gonna use the clutch and flywheel off of this other K24 I have over here, the JDM K24, because that one looks a little old. It didn't slip or anything, but maybe we'll take it off and look at it, see how old it really is. But we're gonna use this X-Daddy OEM replacement for a K-Series and a flywheel. Alrighty, I got the clutch on. Time to put the EP3 transmission on the K24A2 with the RBB4 head. So I got the EP3 transmission on the K24, and then you'll see how this bracket goes. So that's where it's broke, the block. That's tight actually, that actually worked. And this bolts there and there, like that. So it bolts the transmission, not the block, or the Civic. Awesome. All right, now we have to change over all these accessories, probably the water pump housing and everything. The wiring harness. We're gonna use the K24 intake manifold though, the black one, the stock one, because it's needed to make this engine perform the way it should. So I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but I used the Accord water pump housing, EP3 idler pulley, EP3 alternator, and then hopefully the EP3 air conditioning pump that's still in the car. Don't know what kind of belt I'm gonna need, but unless I change that crank pulley, I think that might be the only difference. Is the crank. It's bigger. We'll have to see. But I'm gonna take this harness off, and we're going from there. Look at the harness, nice and simple. Just have a couple plugs, oil, VTEC, crank, injectors, your cam gears, your temperatures, idle air control valve, throttle body, alternator, and then this is the speed sensor. Cracked it, of course. 230,000 miles on this, and it's cleaner than that one. And that one has 100 and almost, like, I think 190, I think it has on it. This has a worn cam gear though, one of them. Can't see it right now. So this is the K24A2. See, it has 3 lobes on both cams. That had 2 on the front and 1 on the back. No, 2 on the, yeah. It might be the other way around. But this also has a 50-degree timing gear on it and a Type S oil pump. Alrighty, we're pretty close here. The only thing I'm still have to find is the side piece for the coolant. If not, I'll use a different one. Also, we're gonna decide what we're gonna do with the fuel rail. I might put 525s in it because I have them, but then I'll have to get it tuned. I'm not sure, we'll figure this out. First thing is get it in the car. Still waiting on the mount because these are shot. This is shot. We're raw shot. Like even this one. Yeah, so I'm waiting on new mounts for that, but it came out pretty good. So we got water pump gasket, water pump housing gasket, new thermostat and a housing. And I also bought the cheapest motor mount you could get. It was actually cheaper to buy these billet ones than it would be to buy like an OEM style replacement. So hopefully these all work and we're good to go. Just have to seal the water pump up and put the water pump on and alternator and intermediate shaft on the back, change the mounts and then drop it in. The one thing about cheap mounts is they came with the wrong thread. Sorry, there's oil on the screen, hold on. So the mounts came with the wrong threads tapped, so I had to re-tap them. I got intermediate shaft on, everything's buttoned up back here. I took off the oil feed for the turbo. I took off the oil drain for the turbo. I put a new thermostat on it. Did the new gaskets. New gasket here, new gasket here, new RVT. Took this off to make it easier to work on. Just noticed that we're gonna have to change this over because I had that pinched and welded for the race car for no heater core. So that has to get switched over. And we're about to throw her in. I gotta pull this out. I believe we got a new one of these. Maybe. I don't even know if I could use this on the K24, honestly. Yeah, I don't even know where this would bolt. Oh, it does. Heck yeah. Alright, cool. So I believe the hardest part of this job is going to be putting the air conditioner compressor back on the engine while the engine's hanging in the engine bay. Because I didn't release the gas in this because I didn't want to have to recharge it. At least not yet. We'll see if we can get it in without pulling it apart. Take it for a ride around the block. And also these motor mounts I got, they are way too stiff. I'm gonna have to put stock ones in because it vibrates a lot and it never used to vibrate before. I mean, I guess the other ones were bad, but still. And my power steering light's on. My power steering's not working. Oh, the light just went back on. So that fixed itself. Power steering fixed itself. Oh, nope. Yeah, it's like vibrates like crazy. Not gonna be able to do this. And it's revving high, but I think it's because my throttle's tight. Alright, I gave up for the night. I can't get this thing to bleed. Look at all the coolant everywhere. I took it for a ride around the block, and it won't go over like 2,500 RPMs, and it rattles really, really bad. So we ruined this car, but that's okay. We will get it all figured out. It rattles like crazy, like a race car. And then the coolant issue, and then the other part's just tuning. I'm not worried about the tuning issue. It's just getting this thing running right and bled. So I'm just standing here looking at this huge mess that I have in here, like always. Just got home from work. Stuff everywhere. Just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do about it. Where do I start? Where do I start? So I drove the car to work today. It rides pretty good, except for the vibrations. So we're gonna have to take these motor mounts off and put stock style motor mounts back on because I cannot deal with the vibration. This is a street car. And also, we're gonna put the throttle body from that engine back on here so I can put the throttle cable in the right area and also hook up my cruise control. We also need to put an intake on. And I'm also going to put in the wideband so we know what our air fuel ratio is, and we can tie it into the ECU. I got the harness all right here, and then we're just gonna clean it up and get it all, you know, more finished. Oh, he wants some. He don't want none. I'll smoke ya. Oh, he wants some. Guess we're gonna have to give it to him. Some wide wheels on that guy. All right, let's go.